stick. Cannot. So we need to regroup and re-strategize how to deal with this person, because he's using criminals now. That's where it has gone. And somebody, I can imagine somebody is on death. And re-strategize how we can deal with such a character. Alafu ameingiza watu box, because he knows politicians, they are greedy. So like now Raila had already talked about this, but akamuita huko kwake Kilgoris with another president that, this guy has come here, I'm campaigning for you to get AUC. Maybe Raila will be important, will be useful for us once he flops this thing of AUC. But as for now, don't look at him. He's not in a position because there's something he wants, and all politicians, they always want something. And that's why he's been able to put each and every, anyone who has some following, kina Joho, kina huyu Laikipia, if it's just sees like you have some following, anakuingiza box, anakuweka kwa CS nini, there he knows he has finished you in terms of talking. You can no longer start criticizing him. So guys, that's the situation. I'm very sorry, and I send my condolences to the gentleman whose remains have been found. Let's keep praying for the others that they will come back alive. I'm keeping hope alive that they will be back alive, although it may take some time. But if they have released Evansi, maybe also because I saw Catholic priests, they also came out to say for those people to be, he's usually sensitive about church because of the numbers which are behind, especially Catholic has a lot of people. So he may release them, but let's just pray, because you see when you're in those dungeons and you are being tortured, anything can go wrong. So let's just continue praying, Mungu awasaidie. Nothing, isienda kwa extreme wakuwe maimed. Unajua pia unaweza achiliwa lakini umefanywa mambo mpaka ukakuwa like how Matiba was a vegetable and he was a very strong man, but alifinywa sana mpaka his brain ikaenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Manya. Yeah, we cannot only say that let's pray, because prayers alone without action cannot do anything. We have to do action, because there is a reason why God gave us ability to think, ability to act, and gave us to be more different than any other primates. We are above. Yes, I want to agree with you that William Ruto is a criminal and is operating in a criminal nature, in a criminal manner. And yes, it is true that we need to think outside the box. And how to think outside the box, I want to agree with you that yes, we can no longer, we have been saying, number one, we have to agree that now we are at war and we are dealing with a gang, not a government, because government cannot operate in a militia-like. We don't have any business again in thinking that we are dealing with a government. We have to know that we are dealing with kind of militia. So, and the way to deal with militia is also to operate like one. And that is why we are saying now that going forward, we are going to be radical and we are going to have our self-defense. And, we will not take any abduction anymore. This message, we should make that statement. And yes, we should now have the total defiance against this gang of William Ruto. And, even this maandamano of coming Monday, we should apply all manner of things. We should not just only say that we are fighting to come to the CBT. We should now go to total defiance. Block the roads, block everywhere that is blockable, and total defiance. Because this is a language that you understand. Ruto is a violent man, and a violent man cannot understand any other language. you will only understand the language of violence. So, in as much as we have tried to discuss with him, we have read the whole constitution. Nearly every Kenyan now is a lawyer. We already know all the chapters of the constitution, but he's still acting on defiance. So what do we need to do? I want to agree with Malia. Now, I want to hear from Kenyans. What do you think we need to do? So let's go to Harry, and then we go to Jeff. Harry. Harry Dale, unmute your mic and proceed. If you are not ready, let's go to Jeff in the meanwhile. Jeffy.
Good evening, my brother Fabish and General China too. I want to bring greetings to every compatriot here and your audience. You know, when we speak about Maandamano on the 6th, and Monday is Monday, there's how we got here. There's no other choice. We have no choice. We've been pushed to the wall. You can only push a man too far. And I think when a person gets to the last end of choices, they have nothing, no option but to fight back. And so for me, I think we have given this government too much time for them to listen to us, that we are not just naysayers, we are not just speaking, you know, from a point of ignorance or lack of information. When we clamor for justice and clamor for transparency, good governance and accountability, and now the freedom of those that have been abducted, almost 3 weeks now, that cannot be naysaying. Those are facts. We've seen them. And somehow there's a trail of evidence. We have CCTV footages. They are all over. An admission by this government from the top that we will stop abductions. And then 7 days later, these guys are still missing. And we've been treated to a horrible festive season, one of a kind that we have not seen before in this nation. It bothers me that our nation has degenerated and spiraled down to this low. And we cannot just sit back and watch and sit pretty. We have to take our country back. I've listened to the kind of conversations at the politicking that was happening today at Wetangula's mother's burial. And it bothers me that on top of graveyards and untold suffering and pain and grief, people can still joke around with this. People can still defend themselves for this. I think it was yesterday that the DCI issued a statement of one of the activists here, whether we agree entirely with what he does or how he speaks, but he has been an activist. This guy is called Francis Gaido. And it bothers me that they can actually give him an ultimatum to present himself before the DCI office, or else they come for him. Let me just remind you guys that on the 11th of August 2022, one Didmas Baraza, the same DCI, issued a statement. The Directorate of Criminal Investigation is warning Honorable Didmas Baraza, who has since gone into hiding after the brutal murder of one Brian Olunga, to surrender to the nearest police station within the next 6 hours. And then 2 years later, this is the third one question. Did they not find him? We see him all around flying with choppers. He's still a member of parliament. They know which constituency he represents. So the idea that we can have a selective accountability and justice in this country is intolerable in this day and age. And so for me, I am going to the streets on Monday because that is the only thing I can do now. Because if we keep quiet now, what happens? We have already seen the gimmicks. You know, what has this government become? What has the presidency become? The president says, admittedly, they are going to stop abductions, and then 7 days later, that there's nothing to show for it. And my question is, what is happening behind the scenes that we are now left to this conundrum? We do not know. We are just left to our own resources to kind of just speculate and, you know, kind of just guess what is going on behind the scenes. And my question is, if the president be the chief and indeed commander-in-chief of the armed forces, now the commander of the abducting forces, then why is his word not an order? Why was it, you know, that it seems like the order he gave fell into deaf ears the same way our pleas on him falls on his deaf ears. So who is in charge of this government? Is he the one that is in control, or someone else is manipulating him and he's just a puppet? You know, those are the questions for me. And if he be then the man that is in charge, as he purportedly, postures himself to be, then the question is there no life to free at all? Are these boys still alive? Why are they being held incommunicado? Even after the clamor, even after we've gone for Mandamano on Monday and on Tuesday, what is this? What is happening? When the international community has voiced itself out, and then the president goes to this Matanga today, and he says to the visitors who have come there, he says, you guys don't worry about how these politicians are answering back to each other. You know, this is how we talk in Kenya. What the fuck? And then when to hear people like Francis Atwoli say that there is even the thought that someone can abduct himself, place himself into an Airbnb for 3 days, and then because he wants to seek for donation from some organization. We cannot allow us to continue descending in that direction, Mr. Fabish. So Mandamano is supposed to be there because there's no otherwise, there's no way, there is no language that this government seems to understand except that. So for that tone deaf tendency that we see, the opulence, the arrogance, the bravado, the thumping of their chests, is the reason why there is a clamor that we need to drain this swamp, and we need not to take longer. We cannot suffer longer to wait for 2027. Those who speak of 2027 are distractors of the movement and the cause for which we stand. So thank you, Fabish. We will continue to have these conversations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeffy. Yes. The kind of how he's gaslighting us, the kind of arrogance, the stamping, Ruto must be stopped. Let's hear from in Mudo Kenyare.
Fabish, can I
Okay,
interrupt?
you can chip in, Mali, as we wait for.
So the guy was found missing, anaitwa Ibrahim Hilal Mweti. So he went missing on 11th November, and he was found at Thika Level 5 mortuary. So I believe that day there was a maandamano which was going on. So the way akina Atwoli and the guys who were at the funeral, the way they were talking, it just reminded me of the case of Ouko. Remember when Ouko died, the kind of stories that were being peddled is that he killed himself, he burnt himself, he poured acid on himself, he shot himself. So this guy, it's like anataka kuturudisha back to that life of you are being gaslit. Yani unakumbuka hiyo story ya huko, it's like you are being gaslit. Yani you are told the guy cut his leg, you are told because the postmortem ilionyesha he was burnt with acid, he burnt himself with acid, he shot himself, he cut off his leg, and they went to an extent of even calling Scotland Yard to come and investigate the case to now gaslight us even more. They are going to get Scotland Yard, which is like FBI, wakuja hapa. At the end of the day, nothing even came out of that Scotland Yard. So these are the kind of tactics this guy is using. The same tactics. And it's so sad because mtu kama Atwoli is an elderly person who remembers that time of Ouko. Who can he be now the person who is being used as a mouthpiece to gaslight Kenyans, that this guy took himself to a BNB and committed a suicide? How? And then after he committed, so we are going back. That is the fact which is there. We are going back, but Kenyans are really on their toes. I remember there is a guy was about to be abducted in Kasarani. Until the people who are abducting him, they put handcuffs on both of his hands. Na watu wakakuja wakasurround hiyo gari because it didn't even have a number plate. It was a Mercedes. And they asked the people who are in that car, where are you taking him and who are you? And there's a lady there who kept on telling him, ingia kwa gari, ingia kwa gari. Then he was like, Mrs. ingia kwa gari, I don't know who you are. And people were becoming more and more. And they surrounded the car on all sides. So these guys, they realized that things may get out of hand. And hata wanaweza chomewa hiyo gari, or hata wapigwa mob justice. So they just left him and they went. So Kenyans also are becoming more proactive, and I can see many people who are in the sphere of security, like Jane Mugo, ule the spy lady. Hata yeye I'm seeing she's really highlighting a lot and she's giving people security tips. Ukiona this thing, do like this, make sure that at least mtu asibebwe. If you are around there, make sure that ukianza kuona tu hiyo story ya kubebwa, make sure asibebwe. And for sure, those people, they fear a crowd. The moment when they see it's a big crowd which is coming, they cannot, because hawajui, these people may beat them with mob justice, they may burn their car. So if also become proactive on the scene of abduction, when you see there's some commotion, they usually try to shield it so that people don't notice. But as soon as Kenyans notice, now they've become proactive. So wanafunika the gari from all sides. And they're like, can you produce some identification to show who you are? No. If you're not producing the identification, then who are you? And where are you picking this person? No, we're not going to allow. Na wanatoka wanaenda. So we're also not very helpless when it comes to at the point of abduction. Of course, now we are thinking about the people who are already in custody. How we can bring them out, because the more also they're staying in, it's also not safe for them, because from the other people who've come out, like Angela 3, they've been saying, okay. Go ahead, please.
Follow all friends. Follow will get back. Okay. Follow all friends. Follow will get back.
Huyu amekuja na. So today there is something very interesting that happens in Nandi County, a place called Chemase. There is a criminal who killed someone, and he was taken to police post, actually in that Chemase. And the area residents, they were not satisfied that the person who was killed was going to get justice. This happens today. So the residents stormed the police post, bring out the suspect, lynch him to death. They banned him. They banned the police station, and they banned the police vehicles, and they left. This happens today. Perhaps our compromised media might not highlight it, but I hope they will highlight it. Let me repeat it again. A suspect who killed someone in Nandi County, Chemase, arrested by the police, taken to Chemase police post. Residents were not satisfied that the family of the deceased were going to get their justice. They marched to the police post, bring out the suspect, lynch him to death, burned his body to ashes. They went for the police vehicles, burned them to ashes, and they torched the whole police post down to ashes. That is a spirit of defiance. It is quiet there in Nandi, and you cannot hear it anywhere. That is a spirit of defiance. If we continue clapping for abductors, if we continue just making noise for them, if we continue always talking about them, giving them more of our airtime, they will never learn a lesson. It is high time, like Malia said, when you see that vehicle, either from today, tomorrow, coming that Monday, they want to abduct somebody, surround that vehicle and don't allow that vehicle to leave. Ask those people to identify themselves. As you are asking them to identify themselves, someone would have rushed and take petrol, take anything flammable. As they're hesitating to identify themselves, make sure that that car, that vehicle become ashes there. That is a statement, that is a spirit of defiance that we are talking. We don't have any business. We don't have any business in respecting a government that does not respect Constitution. How many times will we keep saying? So when these people operate outside the Constitution, we operate outside the Constitution. And William Ruto is the one that is using his hand to take this country into anarchy. And if indeed it is his wishes before he go to prison, then who are we? We will grant him those wishes. Who are we to deny him? He is the one that is taking this country to anarchy. Because you cannot continue oppressing and pushing people. What I had today, talking in the burial, you know, a whole majority leader talking in front of president who is just laughing like a fool, saying that, you know, when someone come and calls out about abduction, the governor of Trans Nzoia, and they start to attack him, gaslight him, and in a reason that, oh, because Uhuru was abducting and killing people, so now it is a competition to kill innocent people. Why are they not doing competition with their own children? Why are they not doing competition of killing with their own children? Now they are killing us like we are animals, like people who are going to hunt. You know? And Kenyans, we want to take this as normal. We just want to take this and keep quiet as if it is normal. Someone boasting that because this one was killing, then I have to outshine him. I have to kill more. That is exactly what they were saying. When you say that Uhuru Kenyatta was dumping to River Yala, so now I have to do more because Uhuru Kenyatta was killing. None of their children have been killed. None of their children have been abducted. None of their children have been deprived liberty. And that is why they rejoice by killing us. What are we talking about? This government, it is not government, it is a militia regime that has already declared war. At this point, we need even to be talking and even thinking outside the box, even getting allies from other countries, even who can supply us with small ammunition, so that even we can be able to arm ourselves and protect ourselves. It might be an uncomfortable thing to talk about, but I'm telling you where we are heading in this country. It is William Ruto that is taking this country. They can give me, warrant arrest like they give Gaito, but this is the reality. If William Ruto, you can sit down and hear people praising abduction in front of you, and you are laughing like a fool, and you stood and you did not condemn, instead you continue praising. And then when we talk at the stupid DCI wanaletea watu at warrant, we don't have a country here. We don't have a country. A country where a leader will talk and sanitize abduction because the children who are being killed are the children of the poor. We might be poor financially, but this is our country. Whether we are poor, whether we are millionaires, this is our country. Kenya is not meant for millionaires. Kenya belongs to everybody, whether you are poor, whether you are rich, whether you are a madman, whether you are a genius. It belongs to all of us. So, based on their talks, we should not even be waiting. If you ask me, we could have even start attacking. Because these people, they're not remorseful. They're not remorseful. Because none of their children have been touched. They are walking like kings. Kenyans, let's wake up. We cannot continue with this level of madness. We cannot continue. When we talk, they say that we don't have discipline. It is better I don't have discipline, but I live, than to have discipline and to kill me. We cannot be subjected to torment, to oppression, to torture. All Kenyans now are tortured psychologically. You cannot think right. We cannot continue that we have always to converse in a low tones just because we say that the world will hear. Yet this is our country. We were given this country by God, not by a human being. And all human beings are equal. William Ruto should be told that leadership is not a birthright. And you cannot rule people by force. So at this juncture, we want now to request a good Kenyans who are in police force. Please, also you need to play a role in this movement. Act of defiance. Stop taking stupid orders and do anything to sabotage the regime. Our good Kenyans, brothers and sisters at the armed forces, don't keep quiet when this country is perishing. History will judge you harshly. You have brothers, you have parents, you have siblings, even when you are in uniform. You have all seen. We did not elect government to start competing with the government. We don't have any business to compete with William Ruto. Not everyone wants that seat of presidency. But we just want a good country. A country where human rights, human dignity is respected. A country where life, sanctity of life is respected. That is what we wanted. And that is our dream. So we need now to have different ways, different mechanisms. Peaceful protest alone is not enough. We need now to have a cocktail. We need to have a cocktail of self-defense mechanism. We need to have defiance. We need now to have all our hands on deck. Those civil servants go slow, start frustrating this regime. Teachers start going slow, start frustrating regime. Parents, where it has reached, we might even decide that we are going to withdraw first our children. If Kenyans were serious, those who are abducted, they are no different than ours, than the one you have in your own house, in your own home. So it's better we keep first our children and demand. Next week, they're opening schools. We need to tell our children, no, in the whole country, let's keep our children first. Release those that you have abducted. They are children like this, our own. What is the essence of us sending our own to school only tomorrow to be abducted, to be killed? That is one way of protesting and showing defiance. So let's hear what Kenyans do we need to say? What do we do more to pile pressure? Mkenya, naona umekuja.
Thank you, Fabish. Good evening. Good evening, Fabish.
Yes, good evening, Kenya, and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Though nothing good about the evening.
Yeah, I'm shocked. In fact, I'm shocked. If you guys watched what has transpired at Bungoma, it's a shame, total shame, and it has come to my attention. But the human life with our Kenyan leaders has no dignity. If we start to be sincere, mambo ya matusi, Raila ametusiana na Ruto wakati wa siasa, mchawi, mganga, muuaji, umefanya vitu mingi, mwizi, makanga ni mwizi, bla bla bla. Our Gen Zs and millenniums tukatoka kwa barabara, tukapigwa risasi, tukachange tactic. Sasa ni iron out our issues kwa mtandao with cartoon activism, the lack of debate, the likes of Willy Mwangi, wakina Mtesi, umeanza ku abduct, that's what may normalize. If you saw that the platform, I'm sure you guys, these fools, I'm sorry to say so, these our leaders who are fools, we do play the key role in electing them. First, as the IBC is going to be constituted, which I don't know when, during the elections, we are the presiding officers. Guys, please, whoever is going to apply to get that job, please, don't let us down. This regime, people are against this fellow. People are against William Samoei Ruto, including myself. Once utapewa hiyo role, sijui kama atafika. That is na message na deliver. Be genius. He needs to go. We need this fellow to go totally. But hatujafika hapo. So since umeona message inakuwa delivered wakina Kimani Ichung'wah, you saw what the Speaker of the National Assembly, the speaker of the Senate, what he spoke, bullshit, and this is what we very clearly.
Kenya, are you there?
Hello, Fabish.
I'm not listening to you. I don't know if it is everyone.
Yeah, I think we lost him at some point. Kenya, are you okay now?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Oh, so thank you very much. Fabish, as you echoed, we need to up our socks. We need to prepare ourselves mentally. We need a pure resistance. You saw they are curtailing everywhere. You saw they are now ganging up against the Guaido. They are against each and every person. You saw what Kimani Ichung'wah did to Mr. Natembeya. Natembeya is the only person who spoke somebody there to the eyes of the president. But you saw what Ichung'wah did. So as much as we are here and as much as we are preparing for Monday, if indeed Monday we are going to come out, let's continue praying for these guys, our 6 guys, and those others whom we don't know in our prayers, so that we get to wapate wakiwa hai. And the other thing is that let's practice resistance. Let's start a go slow. Even this Safaricom line tuachane nazo, tuache tutumie vitu zingine kama Telcom, Airtel. We start a go slow. Thank you very much, Fabish. I'll be contributing as the time goes by as we proceed. Thank you, Fabish.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I want to agree with you that the rage should even get more higher. Ain Muda, are you okay? Are you ready now? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi,
Flo.
Fabish. I want to say something only for 2 minutes. I want to ask, how can we stop the abductions? How can we go? Which ways are we going to use to stop these abductions? And another thing I want to say, we have to stand up now. We have to fight for our country now, or else we are going to be like Syria and Uganda, where we are not going to be able to criticize these politicians. Anybody who's going to be against the politicians is going to be jailed and killed, just like Syria, just like Uganda. The time is now for us to go back to the streets and say no to abductions and say no to corruption and bad governance. For example, right now, England, just like last year, they have a new prime minister. Now they don't want him. They don't want him. They will make noise. They don't want him. He will resign. But in Kenya, we are being abducted. We are being killed. We are being overtaxed. And Ruto doesn't want to go. And he even wants more time in power. We have to be serious. We have to seek judicial system that is working. We can't live like this. This is just like going back to 1978 when Moi took power. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There are some issues I want to highlight. When we talk of defiance revolution, there are some mechanisms that we need to apply. And it has worked in even other countries where they were under dictatorship, like this one of William Ruto. So we need to have the hybrid approach, that is strategic framework of revolution, which is non-violent core with defensive violence. So we use non-violent resistance when we go to protest, when we strike, when we, and we start to boycott. So this is normally a primary, means and, to show protest. And then, of course, we have to incorporate self-defense mechanism so that we can protect when we go to protest, and also we can protect in our communities and activists from being abducted by this regime. Then also, we need to start targeting and disrupting the systems of the oppressor. We conduct non-lethal sabotage. We disrupt the systems like communication, like we can have, those people in the tech space, we disrupt those communication, the supply chains, we also disrupt, even the financial networks. We also need now to hype that defensive mechanism so that we can be able to neutralize threats, like when they want to do violent crackdowns and this abduction. And again, what is important now, then we need to start thinking of building a parallel governance, like from community level, we have councils so that no one can be able to infiltrate the community, even because sometimes you see they use these politicians to come and mobilize people and start talking their bullshits, like even in burials. So we need to have a parallel governance, from the community level, and coming all the way to the national level, when we have at least a command system. And of course, we also have our own underground networks. And so that, and then when we have those kind of parallel governance system, then we will be, like showing them that we are providing alternative leadership. Like, when they talk this, we go and tell, ourselves that, no, we are going to do this. And also these self-defense units in our localities, so that we can be able to protect those systems. Because when we talk of parallel systems, we will even start to do like our own connection of water, our own connection of electricity, where we just give a community. And then we need now defense system that they will be protecting, this parallel government. So we have like some kind of our own force. And also what is important, especially to Kenyans who are in diaspora, is international advocacy and pressure. You need to leverage nonviolent methods to expose regime atrocities and garner global support, like, writing letters to the UN, writing letters to ICC, writing petitions, writing memorandum to all the embassies abroad. When we say abroad, is from neighboring countries in Africa, all to Asia, to Europe, to the US. So when we expose them internationally, it is going to affect, because even the investors and the global partners, they will step backwards. They don't want to continue doing dealings with them, and it will affect them. So we have to amplify this and strategize on the resistance movement. First, we need unity, and we need also to, like identify, build some alliances from grassroots